Hi friends, in this video I'm going to show you how to create the Netflix clone using React.js and Firebase. So here in the navbar you can see there is title of the movie, then overview of the movie, and also you can see the logo of Netflix and a logout button. So when I click the logout button, you can see that the user will be logged out and the button will be changed to sign in. And next you can see there is a play trailer button below the overview. And when we scroll down, you can see that there is a list of movies. We are listed 20 movies here. So next I'm going to click on sign in button. At that time, we will be redirected to this page in which there is a sign in with the Google button. So I'm going to click on the sign in with the Google button and a pop-up will be arrived. Then the user will be logged in and the user will be redirected to the home page. So here, next I'm going to do is to click on one of the banner of the movie. So at that time you can see that we will be redirected to the movie details section. Here you can see that there is a section which shows the details of the movie. That means the title of the movie, overview, language, release date, then play trailer button, etc. So then next you can see the section for posting review and also listing a review by the user. Then next I'm going to click on the play trailer button. At that time, you can see that a pop-up will be arrived and we can watch the trailer by clicking on the YouTube icon. So this is a trailer of that particular movie. So next we can add the reviews of the movie as like this way and we can submit and the review will be listed there as like this for each person. The review with the username and the profile picture will be listed there. So I'm going to the home page and you can see that I'm going to click on logout button again and I'm going to click on the one of the banner of the movie again. Then I'm going to click on submit button. At that time it will show please login or login warning. Okay, so this is the structure of the project that we are going to create now.
If this video is helpful to you, please consider subscribing to the channel, like the video and comment your feedback.
So I have created a new React.js project using create React app and I have removed all the boilerplate codes or unwanted files. Next, I have run the code. You can see the project here. Okay, so next I'm going to do is to create two new components. One is home component. Next is navbar component. Okay, so next I'm going to do is to use these component or call this component in the app.js. So you can see I have called the two components, that is navbar and home component. So next I'm going to use the TMDB API for movie listing. So for that I'm going to take the TMDB website. So here you can see that I'm going to click on the first link. Then we will be redirected to this page. So next I'm going to click on this guides in the navbar. Here we will be redirected to this page. So from here I'm going to click on this API link. So in this page you can see that there is an API key. So we need to use this API key when we are using the URL. So next I'm going to the getting started. And here you can see that there is an API reference in the navbar. So I'm going to click on the API reference. So here in the sidebar, you can see that when we scroll down, there is a section that is discover. So in this discover, there is movie. So I'm going to click on the movie. Then we will get the URL that we need to use for listing the movies. So here you can see that this is the API that or URL that we need
And
to
I'm
use.
going to use
So
this
I'm going to copy this
URL
URL up to this
in the home
movie
component.
question mark.
So I'm going to define a function that is get movie as an arrow function. And inside this function, I am going to use the fetch operation. And inside the fetch, I am going to paste the URL that I have copied from the TMDB database.
Okay. So next we will get the response in the from the API as response, and I'm going to convert that response into JSON format. So dot JSON and dot then we will get the JSON formatted response, and I'm going to log that response. Okay, so next I'm going to use the try catch, and I'm going to call this get movie inside the use effect hook, which I'm going to import from React. Okay, so next I'm going to take the browser and the console. In the console, you can see that we will get the response. So this is the response that we get from the API. So here I'm going to show you the results specifically as JSON.results. So now you can see that here is the result, that is the 20 movies. So each movie contains original title, overview, poster path. This poster path is the URL that we need to show in the banner, then release date, then title, etc. So these are the details that we can see in the each movies. So next I am going to show these details in the browser by using Material UI card. So for that I'm going to install Material UI into our project. So I'm going to the Material UI website. Here I'm going to click the installation button. Then we will be redirected to this page. In the beginning of the page itself, you can see the commands. I'm going to copy this command for installing Material UI into our project. So I'm going to take the new terminal and I'm going to run this command here. So now Material UI will be installed into our project. So the Material UI has been installed into our project. You can see the Material UI in the package.json. Okay. So next I'm going to do is to use the card component from the Material UI. So for that, in the home component, first of all, I'm going to import box component as like this way. So here I'm going to import the box from as like this way, and you can see that in the Material UI there are different cards designs. In the sidebar there is components, and there you can see there is a card option. So here you can see there are different varieties of designs of cards, basic cards,
advanced cards, etc. So I'm going to use a basic card into our project. So for that, I have imported the box. So inside this box, I'm going to use card component as like this way. So I have imported the card component from Material UI. Then next, I'm going to use the content component. Card content. Okay, so card content component also has been installed from the Material UI. Okay, so next I'm going to use the card media. Okay, so card media is used to show the image of each movie. So you can see that this is the structure of the home page of the Netflix. Okay, so here you can see that this is the home section or the banner section or the card we I am going to show. So in this section you can see that there is only the banner is showing. So we need to show the banner, so I'm going to use this card media. So here we can show that image. So in this card media component I'm going to give the props such as uh, component that is that is image. Okay, this is an image component. Then next I'm giving the height of that image as 140, and next I'm giving the image itself. Okay, so image is we know that we have get the results. That means we have get the each movies. So first of all, I'm going to define a state that is const movies set movies, and I'm going to pass this JSON.results into that set movies. You can see that here. So now when I log this movies, you can see that here is the end point of the image that we need to use. So it is in the poster path name. So for that, I'm going to do is I'm going to use the map method to iterate through it. Movies dot map. I'm going to return this card here as like this way. Next, I'm going to use the image. That means here we will get the each movie. So here we have to give the each movies images. So for that, I'm going to the TMDB website again. So here you can see that uh, here you can see that I'm going to click this guides in the navbar. At that time, you can see that in the bottom there is an image part. In this image part, I'm going to click on the basics. So when we redirect it to this basics of the image, you can see that this is the URL of the image that we need to use. So I'm going to copy this URL and I'm going to paste it in this image section. Here I have to give the backtick and I'm going to remove this section of the endpoint and I'm going to give there the end point of the each movie. So movie dot we know that that is poster path. So here it is poster path. So you can see that we got the banner of each movies. So next I'm going to do is to use the grid from Material UI as like this way, grid imported, and I'm giving as container spacing 2, and I'm going to use the grid inside this map method, inside this looping, and I'm going to return the complete with the grid, complete box with the grid. So what is happened here is such that, so you can see that here now it is shown as like this way, and I'm going to give that is grid item access is equal to 3. So here you can see that 4 banner will be shown in line, one line. Okay. So next I'm going to give a style, a padding here, padding top, padding top, padding right, and padding left. So here as 20px padding top and padding right and padding left 20px. So now you can see that in the browser. Okay, it is now fine. Actually, here it is showing an outline to this banner, each of this banner. So we don't need that outline, as you can see here. So here actually we don't want this card content. I'm going to remove this card content here. Actually, card content is used when we need to give any title or as like that of things or buttons to that of this card complete. So I have removed that card content. I am only using the card media here. So now you can see that outline has been gone, that is border. Okay, now it is very fine. Next I'm going to do is to give style to navbar section. So I'm going to take the navbar component. So in the navbar component you can see that here there is a background image of that movie, and there is a logo of the Netflix, and also I'm giving a button here for sign up. So here also showing their title of the movie and also description. So next I'm going to do that. So for that in the navbar I am going to give the background image here. So for that I'm taking the style, I'm giving style as background image, and here I am giving using the backtick and using the URL. So inside this URL I'm going to give the background image. So for background image we need the movie list. So I am using the first movie from the list of this movie. Okay. So for that I'm going to use the API here also. So from the home component I'm going to copy and paste this complete set. That means a state, a function which is defined for the API call, and next the use effect. So I'm using that completely here in the navbar also. Here I'm going to use the details of the first movie from the list. So we can see that this is the data of 20 movies. So from that, I'm going to show the details of the first movie. Okay, so for that, we got the movie state. I'm going to log the details of the first movie, that is console.log movies 0. So now in the console, you can see that here is the details of first movie. Okay, Spider-Man across the Spider-Verse. So you can see that from the banner. Okay, so I'm going to use that first movies in the navbar. Okay, so I'm giving the URL of this movie in this background image URL section. So we know that we have already used the complete URL of the image So I'm going to copy that complete path from here and I'm going to paste it here. Then here I am going to bring some slight changes. I'm going to use the movie state and I'm giving the movie here. Okay, I'm giving another style that is background position to center and background repeat as no repeat, and next background size, that is cover. So I'm giving background size as cover as like this way. Next I'm giving the height and width. So height 400 px and width to 100 percentage. So now you can see that here is the banner. Next I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this section, that means the width, and I'm giving that is original. Now you can see the banner in more clarity. So when we give the different movies as like this way, different index, you can see that we will get the different movies here. Okay, so I'm going to show the one of the movie banner in the navbar. I'm giving this movie as a banner, so I'm giving as 8 as like this way. So now you can see that. Okay, now we can see the image here in the banner. Next, I'm going to show you the details, that is here. You can see that there is a title of the movie and description of the movie, and also a logo of Netflix, and also some buttons. So I'm going to import a logo from my device. That means here I'm going to create a images folder. That means images, and I'm going to import the image from a device. As you can see, I'm using the Netflix logo. So I'm going to import this Netflix logo into this image section, and I'm going to rename this as Netflix. Okay, so next I'm going to use this image in here in navbar. So we have already given the div a background image to the div. Next I'm using the image tag as like this way, and I'm giving the source. Inside the source, I'm going to use the image. That means the image that we have imported from the devices, that is netflix.png. So I'm going to import Netflix from images slash netflix.png. And I'm going to use that Netflix in this source, image source, Netflix. And you can see that in the browser, there is the logo of image. Yes. So I'm going to reduce the size of the logo as I'm giving the style, that is width as 60 or 70 px and height as 70 px. Okay, so now you can see that yes, the logo is the size of the logo is reduced. It is fine now. Next, I'm going to show you a button. For that, I'm going to use the button from the material UI as like this way, and I'm giving the name of the button as sign in button. Okay. So next, I'm going to give the color of the button. That means I'm giving the color of the button as a red color, and I'm going to give the variant as contained. So now you can see that. Okay, so now you can see that there is a button, that is sign in button, and also the logo of the Netflix. So next, I'm going to use a style for aligning both of these with respect to each other. So I'm going to use the style. For that, I'm going to create a div and to place these two elements, that is image and button, inside this div. And I'm going to do is to give this style, that is display flex, for making or aligning them in the same line. So when I give the display flex, you can see that it in the same line. Okay, so now the size of the sign in button is much more. So I need to reduce the size of the button. So for that, I'm going to use the style here. That is, I'm giving the height of the button as 50 px, 50 px. So now you can see that, yeah, the size of the button is reduced. I'm also reducing again to 40 px. Now it will be fine. Yes. Next, I need to put that sign in button into this position. For that, I am going to use the justify content style. So in this div, I am going to give the justify content here as space between. So here I am giving the space between. So now you can see that the Netflix or sign in button is in the end of this navbar. So next, I'm going to give a slight padding to this div, so that we can give the padding to this div as like this way. So it will be much more better. So now you can see that, yeah, there is a Netflix logo at the beginning of the navbar and a sign in button at the end of the navbar. I think it is fine. So here you can see that I'm going to take the again. So I'm going to increase the size of this logo more, and image the width to 90, height to 90. So next I'm going to do is, you can see that in the home page, there is, they are showing the name of the movie and also its description also showing. So I'm going to use the title, original title, and also the overview of this movie to show here. So for that, I'm going to create another div, and here we can give the h2 tag as like this way. And I'm going to use the movies, that is movie that we are used here is in the 8th index. So dot original title. Okay, so now you can see that here is the original title. So I'm going to give the change the color of the title as white. So I'm giving the style here as like this way, and I'm giving the color as white. So now you can see that, yeah, it is white colored. So now you can see the uh, title there. I'm giving H1. I think we need to increase the size of the so I think we need to increase the size of the movie title. So I'm giving as style to width or font size. That means font size to 90 px. So now you can see that, yeah, it is increased, but it is more. So I am reducing the size again, 70 px. I think it is fine. So next I am going to change the font family. So for that I am using the style font family, and I'm giving the style as initial. Yeah, it is more better than before. You can see that here. Yeah, and also I'm going to give the color. Next I'm going to give the color as a gray, a light gray. So I'm taking the HTML color codes and I'm choosing a light gray color from the given colors. So from here I am taking the light gray. So you can see that, yeah, I'm taking this F1, F1, F1 color. So here I am giving that ash F1, F1, F1. So now you can see that, yeah, it is much better than before. Then next I'm going to use the description, that means overview, as like this way. So now you can see that when I take the console, here you can see the overview as like this way. So we need to, I'm going to use that overview here. So for that I'm using the H4 and I'm giving it as movies of 8 dot overview. Okay, so now you can see that here is the overview. So I'm changing the color, or I'm giving the style as color white. Okay, so now you can see that here is the overview of that movie. So when we take the model here, you can see that it is white colored description and white colored title. So as like this way, and I think we need to align much better. So it is in the same line, that is looking good. So here I'm giving the padding to, here also I'm giving the padding as style. Uh, I'm giving the padding 20 px also here. So now you can see that, yeah, it is more, yeah, it is much better. Uh, Next I'm changing the color again. That means I'm giving the color, same color from here. So it is now much better than before. And I'm going to do is I'm going to increases the size of that text. That means I'm giving the H3 here. Yeah, I think it is better, but it is overtaken that navbar. So because we have given the width height here, so I'm giving the height as 500. Yeah, now it is so good. So we have given the logo, we have given the sign in button, we have given the title and also description. So next when we look the model, you can see that there is play episode, also giving another button, that is I'm going to use a button for viewing the trailer. So for that I'm going to use the button from Material UI. So here I am going to use the button from Material UI as like this way. So we have already imported the button from Material UI, and I am giving the variant of the button as contained itself. And next I'm going to give the color of the button. So I am giving the color of the button as black and background color as white. So here you can see that I'm giving the color, I'm giving the color as black and background color as white. So now you can see that there is a button here. Yeah, this is a button. So I'm giving the name of the button as view trailer. I think it will be fine. Yeah, here is it. So as like play episode, we have given the button view trailer. I'm using this button here in the same div itself. It is enough. Yeah, you can see the button here. So next I'm giving a so next I'm giving a style that is font weight to bold, font weight, okay, to bold. You can see now it will be much better than before. Yeah, it's looking very good. So next I'm going to do is to change the background color of the home. Here it is background color as white. So when we take the model, you can see that the background color is black. So I'm going to change the background color there. So here in the home component, I'm going to give the style as background color to black. So you can see that here I'm giving the background color, that is background color to black, as like this way. So when we take this, you can see that we have changed the color to black. So yeah, it is. I think it is looking same as like that of the model. Now I'm going to give a light black. So I'm giving this. It may be more better than before. So here as like this way. So now you can see that yeah, it is much better. So next I'm going to use the Firebase authentication for the signing. So for that, I'm going to take the Firebase website. So here, I'm going to the Firebase website. You can see here, I'm going to click on this first link. Then we will be redirected to the page where we can add our new project. So for that, I'm going to click this Get Started button, and we will be redirected to a page where I'm going to click this Add Project button. At that time, we can create a new project in the Firebase. So I'm giving the name of the project as Netflix clone itself, Netflix clone, and I'm going to click the Continue button. Next, I'm going to disable this Google Analytics. We are not going to use this Google Analytics in our project. So next, I'm going to click on the Create Project button. Now our new Firebase project will be created. We have to wait for that. So our new Firebase project have been created, that is Netflix clone. So next I am going to click on the continue button. So now we can see that here is an option for iOS, Android and web. So I'm going to click on the web option. Okay. So now you can see that first of all we have to register our app. So for that I'm giving the name of the app as Netflix app itself. And next I am going to click on the register app button. As a second step, we have to do is to add the Firebase SDK. So as I am using the npm, I'm going to copy this npm install Firebase command and to run that command in the terminal. So now the Firebase will be installed into our project. Okay, so the Firebase has been installed into our project. So next I'm going to the Firebase document. You can see that after installing the Firebase into our project, we have to use this code snippet. So I'm going to copy this code and I'm going to create another folder, that is Firebase, and I'm going to create another file inside this Firebase folder as setup.js. Next I'm going to paste this whole code here. So if you can see that I have pasted the code here. Then next I'm going to remove this command. So okay, so here you can see that this is the Firebase config. There is API key or domain project ID, etc. But we are don't going to change. We are not going to bring any changes in this Firebase config. So I'm going to minimize that. Okay. Here you can see that they have initialized the app by importing initialize app from Firebase app. Next I'm going to do is to import one thing from Firebase auth. So the thing that we have to import from Firebase auth is get auth function as like this way. So this is the first thing that we have to do in setup file. So next I'm going to define another file that is another variable. So that is I'm giving the name of the variable as auth itself, and I'm going to assign this get auth function into this. So next I'm going to do is to pass this app into the get auth as an argument, and I'm going to export this variable auth so that we can use this auth in other files. Okay, so the things that we have to do in the setup file is completed. So here you can see that when we are using this type of, that means when authentication or get Firestore, etc., we have to do is to pass this app inside this get auth as an argument. Okay, so next I'm going to do is to create another component that is sign in component. Okay, so here this is a sign in component. Okay, so next I'm going to do is to, here you can see that after using this code snippet, I'm going to click on this continue to console button. After that, we will be redirected to the console of our uh, website, our project. So in the sidebar, you can see there is some of the options. So I'm going to click on this build option. In the drop down, you can see that there is authentication, AppCheck, Firestore database, real-time database, etc. So I'm going to use the authentication. So for that, I'm going to click on the authentication. Next, I'm going to click on this get started button. Okay, so here you can see that they are providing some of the providers, that is native providers, additional providers, custom providers. So native providers like email, password, phone, etc., and additional providers like Google, Facebook, Play Games, Apple, etc. So I'm going to use the Google for as the additional provider. So I'm going to click on this Google button. Next we have to do is to enable this, and I'm going to give the mail ID and clicking the save button. So now the Google authentication will be enabled. Okay, so now we can use the Google authentication functions into our project. So for that, we have already created a component for sign in. So in this component, I'm going to define a function that is, so I'm giving the name of the function as Google sign in as like this way, and an arrow function. Inside this function, I'm going to use another function which we need to import from Firebase. So here I am going to import that function from Firebase auth as like this way, Firebase slash auth. So I am going to use the function sign in with the pop-up. This is a function that we are going to use when we are using this Google authentication, or we are enabling this Google authentication. So I am going to use this sign in with the pop-up directly here, and I am giving the async await. Next I'm going to do is to give the try catch. Okay, error console dot error, and here I am giving the sign in with the pop-up in the try. Okay, so now I am going to use a button here as well, which I have imported from the material UI. So I'm going to give the name of the button as sign in and a variant of contained and a color of error. Now I have created a button and I'm giving this Google sign in function which we have defined into this on click of the button, that is Google sign in. Okay, so now we have created a sign in component. So next what we have to do is when we click the sign in button, we have to redirect it to the sign in component or sign in page. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new component, that is main.js. So I'm creating a component that is main.js as like this way, and I'm going to use this navbar component and the home component in this main.js component. Okay, as like this way. Next I'm going to do is to call this main component in this app.js. Okay, so now you can see that nothing is changed in the browser. Okay, so next I'm going to do is to install React router DOM into our project. So npm install React router DOM. Okay, so now you can see that React router DOM will be installed into our project. Okay, so React router DOM has been installed into our project. So next I'm going to do is to set up the React router DOM into our project. So for that I'm taking the index.js and I'm going to import the browser router from React router DOM as like this way. Okay, then I am going to wrap the app component into this browser router. So you can see that I have imported the browser router from React router DOM and I have wrapped the app component by using the browser router. So next I am going to the app.js component and I am going to import the routes and route from React router DOM. So here I am going to import routes and route for giving the route or your endpoints to the each component. So inside this route component, we are giving the endpoints such as path is equal to, for main component, I'm giving the path as slash, then element. Inside the element, I am giving this main component as like this way. Next, I am going to use another route component and I am giving the route for the sign in component. So here I am giving the endpoint as sign in and here I am giving as sign in as like this way. Next I am going to the navbar component and I am giving the sign in button. So okay, so next what we have to do is when I click this sign in button, we have to redirect it to the signing page. So for that I am going to the navbar. So here you can see that here is the button, that is sign in button. In this button I am going to give a function in the on click of the button. So in the on click of the button I am going to give the function that is sign in click as like this way, and I'm going to define that function sign in click as an arrow function, and I'm using the use navigate hook from React router DOM. So first of all I need to define a variable, and I'm giving the name of the variable as navigate, and I'm using the use navigate as like this way, use navigate hook. Then I can use the navigate variable inside this sign in click function to give the route or to navigate towards the sign in page. So I'm using this navigate variable as like this way, and I'm giving the endpoint of this sign in page as sign in. So we have already defined that route in the app.js. So now when I click the sign in button, you can see that we will be redirected to the sign in page. So I'm clicking the sign in button. So now you can see that we have redirected to sign in page. This is our sign in page. So now there is only a single button. So first of all, I'm giving the color of this component as black. That is background color as black. Okay, so now you can see that the color of the component is changed, and I'm giving the height of the component as 100 vh. Okay. Okay, now the color of the component has changed to black. I'm giving a dark gray. So here I'm picking this color, and I'm giving this color to this background color. So now you can see that, okay, this is the sign in page. So next I'm going to make the sign in button at the center of this page. So for that I'm going to create another div, and I am putting this button inside that div as like this way. Okay, so next I'm going to do is to give the style that is position fixed, and left as 45 percentage and top as 45 percentage. Okay, so now you can see that the button sign in button will be at the center of the screen. Okay, so it is fine. So next I am going to give a text below the button. So for that I am giving the h2 tag, or I am giving the h2 tag, and I am going to write such as let's start to explore movies from here. Okay, so now I am giving the br as like this way, and you can see that now here is a text that is let's start to explore movies from here. So I'm giving it as white colored by giving this style that is color white. Okay, so now you can see that color is given as white. Okay, so I am giving it in another div. I think it will be good if we give that into a div, another div. Okay, so next I am going to give br to here also. So it will be fine now, I think so. So okay, so next I am going to reduces the margin top or the top here. So I am giving as 35. Okay, so I think it is fine. Next I'm going to give the logo here. So here I am giving the image tag as like this way, and I am going to use the logo Netflix, which we have already imported from the device. So here you can see that is this netflix.png. So I'm going to import that Netflix logo as like this way. Okay, then I'm going to give this Netflix logo here in the source of the image tag. So next you can see that, so here is the logo. So I'm going to reduce the size of the logo as giving the style, that is I'm giving the width as 100 px. I'm giving the height as also 100 px. So next I'm going to give a padding to this sign-in component. So I'm going to take this sign-in component and I'm giving the padding here. So as like this way, padding to 20 px. Then now you can see that it will be much better. Okay, next I'm going to implement the Google authentication by clicking the sign in button. So in this sign in page, you can see that we have a Google sign in function in which we have used the sign in with a pop-up. So inside the sign in with the pop-up, we have to pass the arguments. The first argument that we have to pass is auth, which we have already defined in the setup of the Firebase, and we have exported that. Okay, so I'm going to import that from the setup.js file. Next, I'm going to use another thing that we have to export from here. So for that, I'm going to import that Google Auth provider from the Firebase Auth as like this way. And as same as like that of the auth, we have to define a variable and I'm going to export that. So Google, I'm giving the name of the variable as Google Auth and I'm going to assign that Google Auth provider as like this way. Now we can use this Google Auth in other files. So I'm going to the sign in and as a second argument, I'm going to use this Google Auth as like this way. Okay, so now when we click this sign in button, the user will be logged in. So for that, how we for knowing that if the user is logged in or not, what I'm going to do is I'm going to log the auth dot current user. We know that here is the auth we have already imported from the Firebase setup file, and this auth have a property that is current user. So I'm going to this sign in button and I'm going to take the console. Now you can see that when we click this sign in button, so next I'm going to click on the Google account. Okay, so now the user is logged in. So now you can see that. So when we given the auth here, you can see here it is the auth and the auth.current user. So we can access the mail ID and the display name is there. Then we know that if the email is verified or not. Then there is metadata. The metadata includes the created time, etc., and also phone number, and also we can see the photo URL. So we can directly give the photo URL also from here. So these are the details that will get from the Google authentication. I am giving here that is auth dot current user as like this way. So now you can see that current user dot email. Okay, so now you can see that the email here. So you can see the current user here as like this way. So from this current user we can access the display name, email, his email is verified, and also the photo URL, etc. from this given array or from this return. Okay, so from this response we will get the, so from these details we will get these okay. So from this we can get the display name, email verified, photo URL, etc. So next I'm going to do is, so after sign in, next I'm going to do is to redirect to the home page itself. So or the main page itself. So for that I am going to the sign in page component, or next after this sign in, we know that we have auth dot current user dot email verified as a property. So if this the user email or Google account is verified, then we can give that to navigate to the main page, okay, or main component. So for that I'm going to define the use navigate in this sign in component also. So I'm defining a variable that is navigate, and I'm going to give this use navigate or assign this use navigate into this navigate. So now I'm going to use here as, if this auth dot current user dot email verified is true, then the navigate, we can navigate to the main component as like this way. Okay, so now I am going to click this sign in button. At that time you can see that the user will be navigate to the main component. Okay, so it is fine. The sign in component is completed. So now the user is already logged in. So now you can see that here is a sign in button, but actually we don't want sign in button when the user is logged in. So now the user is logged in. So now we need the logout button here. So here I am going to give, that means in the navbar I am going to use another button. So below this sign in button I am going to use another button that is logout as like this way, and I'm going to give the variant as contained, and I'm giving the color as error itself. Okay, so now you can see that there will be a logout button here. Then next I'm giving the style as height 40 px, as same as that of sign button. Okay, now it is fine. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to put these two buttons inside a div as like this way. So now you can see that it is arranged together. So next I'm going to give a style to the logout button, that is margin left 10 px. Now it will be fine. Okay, then next, now you can see that it is showing sign in and logout button. Actually it only want to show one button at a time. That means when the user is logged in, we only want to show the logout there, and when the user is logged out, we only want to show the sign in button. So I'm giving it by a condition, that is, if the, we know that there is an auth which we have used or defined in the setup.js file. So I have imported that auth. So when the auth dot current user auth.currentuser.email verified. Then we have to show the logout button. That means when the user is logged in, we have to show the logout button. And when the user is logged out, we have to show the sign in button. So now you can see that we have given the condition, that is when the user is user email is verified, we have to show the logout button, and when the user is not verified or the email ID is not verified, we have to show the sign in button. That is when the user is logged in, we have to show the logout button. So you can see that now with the user is logged in, so it is showing logout button. So next I'm going to do is we have to implement the logout functionality here. So for that I'm going to use a function from the Firebase as like that of sign in function. So in this navbar I'm going to define a function that is const logout. The function is sign out. So I'm going to import that sign out function from the Firebase auth, that is async await. And I'm giving the try catch as like this way. So now I'm going to give this await sign out into this, and I'm giving the console.error. Okay. So next I'm going to give this or call this logout function inside the logout button. So here is the logout button. I'm giving this function here. So in the on click of the logout button, I am giving the function that is logout. Okay. Then inside this logout function, we have to give the auth as like this way as the argument. So whenever we click this auth, then the user will be whenever we click the logout button, the user will be logged out. And when we check that by using the auth.current user dot email verified, it will be false. Okay, so now I am going to click the logout button, and at that time you can see that yeah, now in the console it is undefined. That means here in the navbar we have logged the auth.currentuser.email, and now it is undefined, and also it is showing sign in button here. Okay, next I'm going to change the name of this button, that is in the sign in component. We are given the name of the button as sign in. So I am giving the name of the button as sign in with Google. Okay, so now you can see that it is sign in with Google. Okay, so I am going to click on that, and next we will be logged in and we will be redirected to the home page again. So next I am going to do is that when the user clicked this banner, one of the banner, the user need to be redirected to a component or a page which contains the details of this movie. So for that, I'm going to use the link component from the React router DOM. So in the home component, I'm going to use this link component and I'm going to wrap this card. Okay. First of all, I'm going to create a new component that is movie detail. Okay. So next I'm going to the app.js and I'm giving the root to this movie detail component. Okay, so next I'm going to the home component, and here you can see the card. So I'm going to wrap this card into the link component from the React router DOM. So I'm going to import the link from React router DOM as like this way. And I'm going to wrap this whole card by using the link. Next, I'm going to give the path to this link component as 2, which is equal to movie detail. Okay, so now you can see that in the browser, when I'm going to click this any of the banner, you can see that we will be redirected to the movie detail component. So I'm going to click this banner. So you can see that now we have redirected to the movie detail component. So next I'm going to pass the detail of the movie from the home component into the movie detail component. So for that I'm going to use the link component, and I'm going to pass the data as state. So here in this state props, I'm going to pass the movie. So now you can see that when I'm going to the movie detail component, and I'm going to use here a use location hook from React. So I'm going to define a variable that is location, and I'm going to import the use location from React router DOM. Then next I'm going to console this location. So I'm going to take the console, and you can see that when I'm clicking the each banner, so here you can see the details of that single movie or that particular movie. That is location.state.movie. Here is the overview, popularity, poster path, release date, original title, etc. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to convert or make this movie detail component into 3 parts. That means first part is the details of that movie. That is the half portion of this component. The next half portion is the next half portion is of the section for the user to add their review about the movie and also to show the review here. So for that I'm going to do is I'm going to create another div. Inside this div I'm going to show the details of the movie. So first of all I'm going to use the style for giving background image in this div. So here I am going to use the background image as like this way, and here I am using backtick, and inside the backtick I am using the URL. So here we know that in the home component we have already used the background image. So I'm going to copy that and paste it here. Then in the endpoint I'm giving the location dot state dot movie dot poster path. You can see that here we need to use the location dot state dot movie dot the poster path. Okay, so location dot state dot movie dot poster path. Okay, so I'm going to remove this portion, that is the width that they have given. That is I'm removing and giving it as original. Here also I am giving it as original. Okay, so next I'm going to do is I'm giving a height in this component, height of 100 VH. So you can see that. So you can see it as like this way. Then I'm giving background size as cover, and also background repeat as no repeat. So now you can see that this is a structure of that banner in the movie detail. As like when I am clicking any of the banner here, we will be redirected to that movie detail component and we can see the image there. So I'm going to click this and you can see that the image here. So next I'm going to do is to create another div that is here as like this way. This div contains the section for the user to post their own reviews and also the reviews that you and also a section to show the user's review. So for that I'm going to create two div inside this component. Here it is add review. Here it is show review. Okay. So you can see that here we have created here we have given two div also. So next I'm going to do is to use the grid from material UI. So I'm going to import the grid from material UI as like this way and I'm giving container and spacing as a prop into this div. So next I'm going to divide this whole component into two parts. So for that I'm giving the grid here as like this way and also a grid here as like this way. So next I'm giving here as item access equal to I'm giving as 4 and here I am giving item access equal to 8. So next I'm going to remove this div from here. Okay, now it is perfect. We have divided to this component into two parts. That is, one part is for showing the details of that movie, and one part is for the review. So in these details, I'm going to change the perspective. That means here I am giving 6, and here I am going to give 6 also. Here also I'm giving 6. You can see that now it is divided equally. But I think it is perfect when we given 8 here and 4 here. Okay, so I have given 8 by 12 part for the review or for the description or the details of the movie, and the 4 by 12 part I have given for the reviews. Okay, next I am going to give the title and the overview here. So for that I'm using h2 tag for head title and h5 tag for overview. So here I'm going to give that location.state.movie.original title. So you can see that. So you can see that here it is location dot state dot movie dot original title. So I'm going to use this original title as the title of the movie. So here I'm giving as original title, and next you can see there is overview. So I'm going to use this overview to show, that is location dot state dot movie dot overview. Okay, so now you can see that here is uh, here is the title and here is the overview. So I am giving the style as white to this both of this title and the overview as style white, and to this overview also the style as color white. Okay, so now you can see that here is the title and the overview. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to give this detail section also in the grid. So I'm using a grid here. I'm going to put this H2 inside this grid, and this H5 or overview inside this second grid, as like this way. Okay, so next I'm going to give the container to both div as a prop. Okay, so now you can see that, yeah, it is looking good and also perfectly aligned. Okay, so next we have to bring this title and overview at the bottom of this image. So for that I'm putting this title and origin inside the overview inside a div, a new div. So I'm using the div as like this way, and I'm giving this title and overview inside this div. And next I am going to give a style into this div as like this way. So I'm giving the style as padding top 350 px. So now you can see that the title and the overview is at the bottom. So next I'm going to give the padding left also as 30 px. Okay. So next I'm going to increase the size of the title. So I'm giving H1 here, and also I'm giving font size as, okay, I think it is fine now. Next I'm going to reduce the padding top from here to 200. Okay, it is good. Then I'm going to increase the size of the overview also. That means here I am giving size as H3. Okay, I think it is better. Next I'm going to do is to give a padding right also to this div. That means the div which contains the title and overview. I'm giving a padding right as a 5 or 10 px. Okay, I think now it is better. Then next I'm going to do is to change the font family of the title and overview. So for I'm giving that in the font family in this div itself. That is I'm giving initial. Okay, not bad. Next I'm going to increase the size of the overview again. That means here overview size as H2. Okay. So next I'm going to do is to make the background image much darker. So here I'm going to do that when we are adding another images like this, we can see that the letter will not be correctly visible. So for that I'm going to do is to make the background image some more darker. So for that I'm going to give the linear gradient in this background image style. Okay, so now you can see that the background image has changed. So we can now the title and overview is more visible than before. Next, I'm going to give the same style into this navbar also. So I'm going to this navbar component and I'm giving the same style here. So I'm going to copy linear gradient up to here and I'm going to paste it the same in the navbar. Okay, so now you can see that in the navbar also there is a slight change for the background image. So I think it is very nice. So one more thing I am going to do is here I am going to make the font weight of this overview thin. That means in the movie detail. So here this is the overview section. So I am going to give the font weight as 100 font weight. So now you can see that the font weight will be thin than before. Okay. Here I am going to change the color of this head title. So I am giving the color of the title as red in the movie detail component. I am giving the color of the title as red here. So now you can see that the color of the title has changed to red. Okay, so I think it is fine. Okay, so next I'm going to do is to give a button in the below the overview, that is view trailer button or play trailer button. So for that I am going to use the button component from the material UI. So here below the overview I am using the button as like this way. So now you can see that I'm giving the name of the button as play trailer as like this way. So now you can see that here will be button. So I'm going to import that button from material UI. Okay, so here is the button play trailer. So I'm going to give the props into that button. That means variant contained. Next I'm going to give the color of the button, that is background color as white, and color of the letters as black. So in the SX tag I'm giving the color as black, and also I'm giving the background color as white. Okay, so now you can see that here is the play trailer component or play trailer button. Okay, I think it is fine. Next I am going to reduces the padding top here. So everything will be visible visible now. Okay, it is looking great. So next you can see that when we check in the console, there are other details such as here is original language, and also there is another information, that is release date. So I am going to use these two details also to show in the browser. So for that I am going to use to show that two details in below the title here. So for that, I'm going to use the H4 tag. This is a title. So here I'm going to do is to give H4 tag as like this way, and I'm going to give the location dot state dot movie dot original language as like this way. Original language. That time you can see that in the browser there will be original language. I'm going to give the color of the original language as also white. That is in the style I'm giving as color to white. Okay. So we can find it here. So I'm going to give that below the title. I'm going to give it in the below the title and also below the grid from here. So I'm going to cut that portion and give below the okay below the grid. So now you can see that there will be yeah it is showing that English here. Okay, now I am going to reduces the padding top. So next I am going to use the name as original language here. So now I am giving the language here. Okay, it's like this way. Now we can see that yeah it is fine. The next I am giving the release date also. So I'm giving release date here. That means I'm giving release date by using h5 tag and I'm giving as location dot state dot movie dot release date. Okay, so I'm giving a style same as like that of the language and here also release date. Okay, so now you can see that there will be release date and a language also showing. I'm going to bring that two things in same line. So I'm using the div to put them within the div and giving the display flex as style in the div. Okay, display flex. Okay, so now you can see that yeah here is the release date and also language and I'm going to give a arrow here sorry an icon here. So I'm going to change this to h4 itself. Yeah, now it is fine. It is in the same line. I think the description section is completed. Then next we have to do the play trailer also. So I'm giving the name of the button as play trailer here also in the nav bar. Okay, fine. Then next I'm going to do the review section. So here you can see that here is the review. So first of all, we need to add the review into the database and next we have to show that review here. So for that, I'm going to use the button and a text field from the material UI. So here is the section, sorry. So here is the section for add review and show review. So inside this add review, I'm going to use the text field and a button. So text field one from material UI as like this way. and a button from material UI, same as like that of this. Okay, and I'm giving the placeholder and label to this material UI. So I'm giving the label to this material UI as a review, and also I'm giving variant, that is contained, sorry, outlined. Okay, so now you can see that here will be a, yeah, here is the text field for giving the review or adding the review. Then there is a show review button. So I am going to give the variant to that button also. That I am giving the variant of the button as contained, and I am giving the name of the button as submit. Okay, now you can see that here is the button, submit button, and I am changing the size to small for the text field. So now you can see that it is aligned correctly. Okay, I'm giving a margin left to submit button. So in the SX tag, I'm giving ML margin left to 10px. Okay, yeah, I think it is fine. Next, I am giving the color of the button as black and background color as black and the color of the letter as white. So in the button, I am giving BG background color as black and also the color as white. So, okay, this is the structure. So I am going to give an H2 tag, H1 tag here at the top of the div, that is as a review. Okay, okay. Now you can see that is much better than before. I am giving a color of blue to this. I am giving a color of blue to this review heading, the review title. So here I am using the blue as like this way. So copy this color and I am going to paste that color in the style of this review. So now you can see that, okay, this is the review section. So we can give the reviews here. Next, I am going to create the UI of the UI to show the review. Okay, so this is a section for showing review. So there also I am giving an h1 tag. So actually here we need the review and here we need to add review. So I am giving that add review here. Okay, now you can see that here is add review and here is review. So next I am going to change the background color of the div completely. That means here this is the div in the right section, that is a div of the review. So I am going to give the style as a dark gray. I'm selecting a color from the HTML color code as like this. So you can see that I'm selecting a dark gray as like this. So now I am giving this or pasting that color inside this background color style. So now you can see that, yeah, this is the background color that we have given. Next I am going to change the height. That means I am giving the height as 100 ph. Okay. So here you can see there is a gap between this review section and detail section, and also a space on the top of the review section. So I am going to give a grid for the add review and uh, post show review also. So here I am going to use the grid here as like this way. For show review also, I'm going to use the grid, and I'm going to give the container, and here also. Okay, so now you can see that space at the top has gone. Next time, we don't want this space also. So I'm going to remove the spacing in the top grid. So here we have already given a spacing of 2. Actually, we don't want that. So I have removed that spacing also. Now you can see that the gap has gone. The space between the detail and the review section has gone. And now it is looking good. So now I'm going to give a padding to the div of review. So here, this is the review div. So I'm giving a padding of 20 px. So now you can see that it will be more fine. Yes, it is now very good. So next I am going to change the style of this review text field. I'm giving background color to white. So here you can see that this is the review section. So here is the text field for add review and also button. So I am going to give the style for this text field as like this way. Style is equal to background color white, border radius also border radius 5px. Okay, so now you can see that this is the this is the text field now in the form. So now the text field is looking like this way. I think it is more better than before. Then next I'm going to change the color of this title. So here I'm going to give the color of the title, which is light gray. So here I'm picking this color. Okay, now you can see that it is changed as like this way. Next I'm going to give big letter. So here you can see that, and I'm going to reduce the size of the letter as I'm giving here h6 tag. Yeah, so I think it is better to give h5, and also I'm doing that. I'm giving a style such as I'm giving font weight to 100. Okay, you can see that here I have given the font weight as 100 as like this way. Then I am going to change the background color of this review section. So here this is the background color that we have given. So I am giving it as black. Okay, I think now it is fine and much better. Then I am changing the color of the submit button also. So here this is the submit button. I am changing the color to red, black. I mean the background color. So I think it is more better. So next I'm going to create a new collection in our Firebase project. That means Netflix clone. So for that I'm going to the Netflix clone console. So here you can see that in the sidebar there is a build option. So I'm going to click on the build. In the drop down you can see that there is authentication abstract, Firestore database, real-time database extension, etc. So So here is the Firestore database. So I'm going to click on the Firestore database. Next, I'm going to click on the Create Database button. Then you can see that here is two options, that is Start in production mode and Start in test mode. I'm going to select the Start in production mode and I'm going to click on the Next button. Next, I'm going to select the location. So from here, I am going to select the Mumbai as a location. And next, I am going to click on the Enable button. Okay, so now you can see that this is the database of our Netflix clone project in the Firebase. So here we can create a new collection as like this way. We can create the collection manually from here by clicking the start collection, and we can add the collection ID, etc. So now we are going to add the collection from our project, React.js project. So for that, first of all, we need to do is we have done a setup here, that is we have created a file that is set up in the Firebase folder, and we have done these things for authentication. So next, for using this Firestore database, we need to import one function from the Firebase Firestore. So I'm going to import that from Firebase Firestore. Okay, so here I am going to import is get Firestore function. Okay, next I'm going to do is I'm going to define another variable, and I'm giving the name of the variable as database, which is equal to, I'm going to assign the get to Firestore function here. Next, I'm going to do as like that of this authentication. I'm going to pass the app variable into this get Firestore function. Okay, this section is completed. So next, what I'm going to do is in the project. So whenever I'm clicking any of the banner here, at that time, a collection need to be created in our database of the Firebase Netflix clone project. Okay, so whenever I'm clicking the banner here, we need to create a collection in our Firebase database. So for that, I'm going to use a function called setDoc from Firebase. So I'm going to the home component, and here I'm going to define a function add movie as an arrow function, and I'm going to use the setDoc function from Firebase. So I have imported that setDoc from Firebase Firestore. I'm giving async await and try cats. Okay, I'm going to use this add movie function inside this map method. So here I'm going to call that add movie as like this way. And from here, we know that we can pass the ID of the movie and also the original title of the movie into this function. So from here, I'm going to pass the full details of that single movie. So here we can take the details of that movie when we are defining the add movie function. Next, I'm going to define a variable that is movie ref, and I'm going to use the function doc, which I have imported from the Firebase Firestore. So here, as a first argument, we have to pass the database that we have already defined in the setup.js file. Next, as a second argument, I'm going to pass the name of the collection. So I'm going to create the collection in the name movies. Okay. And as a third argument, we need to pass the ID of the movie. So here I'm going to pass the ID of the movie as movie.id. So here I am giving it as a string like this way. Okay. And after that, I'm going to give this movie ref into this setDoc as a argument, as a first argument. And as a second argument, I'm going to give the name of the movie. So here I'm giving movie name, that is movie dot original title. Okay. So now you can see that whenever we click that card in the home component or in the first page, home page, then a collection will be created in our Firebase database. So before that, we have to do one thing which is very important. That is, here now we are in the data section. So next I am going to click the rules. Then here you can see that it is read and write false. So I am going to convert that into true and clicking the publish. So now the changes will be published. And now you can see that the collection will be created in this data section whenever I am clicking the banner. So I am going to click one of the banner here. At that time you can see that a new collection will be created. Yeah, you can see here that a new collection is created, that is movies. We have already given the name of the collection here when we are defining the function. Okay, as a second argument. And also we have passed the ID of the movie. So here you can see that this is the ID of each movie. We can see that ID when we are taking the or we are logging the details. That means the details, that is movie. So here I'm going to log the details of this each movie or the specific movie. So here you can see that here is the ID. So movie.id. So this movie is Fear the Night. So I am going to take the ID 1143190. Then you can see that here 1143190. Yes, the Fear the Night. Okay, so we have created a collection named movie and we have added all the movies, 20 movies into that collection with the name of the movie. So name of the movie we have added here. Okay, so now we have already added the movie to the database. Okay, so next I'm going to do is to add the review to the database. So here we have already given the section for adding the review. Next, whenever we given any review here, we need it to be added to the database here. Okay, so I'm going to the movie detail section or movie detail component. So I'm going to add the review here. So we know that here there is already a text field and a submit button. So next I'm going to define a function, add review, as an arrow function. So I'm going to use the add doc function from the Firebase Firestore. Okay, so here I am giving the async await and try catch. Console.error, and I'm passing this add doc here. So I'm going to call this function in the submit button. So here we know that here is a submit button. So I'm going to call the function add review in the on click of this submit button as like this way. Next I am going to do is to define two ref. That means I am going to define the movie ref and review ref. So first of all, I am going to use the doc for movie ref. So here as a first argument, I'm going to pass the database which I have defined in the setup.js file. Next, I'm going to pass the name of the collection. So we have already created the collection of the movie, that means movies. So here we can see that here is a collection. So I'm going to give the name of the collection as a second argument, as like this way. And as a third argument, I'm going to pass the ID. So we have already given the ID of the movie. So here we have given the ID of the movie for each document. So I am giving the same ID itself. So we can get the ID of that each movie or that particular movie from this location. I am going to give the location.state.movie.id. So here, first of all, I'm going to log that location. So here in the console, you can see that I'm taking the console in the project. So in this object, you can see that location.state.movie.id. Okay, so this is the ID that we have given. So I'm going to give that ID as a third argument to this doc function in the movie ref. So here I am giving as location dot state dot movie dot id, and I'm giving this as a string. So I'm going to convert it to string by giving the backtick. Okay. So next I'm going to create the review ref. So here const review ref as like this way, which is equal to collection. So I am going to use the collection function from the Firebase Firestore. So in the collection function, the first argument that we need to pass is this movie ref. So I'm going to pass this movie ref as the first argument, and as a second argument, I'm going to pass the name of the collection that we are going to create for the review. So here I'm giving the name of the collection as a reviews, as like this way. So what we are doing is, in our database, we have already created the collection for movies. For example, consider the movie The Flood. So we are going to create a new collection. That means a sub collection. That means particularly for this movie. That is the review of this movie. So that we are doing here. So a new collection will be created as like that of movies. But in this field, for particularly for this document or each of these documents separately. Okay, with the name reviews that we are going to do. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is to pass this review ref into this add rock function as like this way. After that, we have to do is we have to give the review into this section. So for that, I'm going to define a state. That means the name of the state as review, set to review. Okay, so next I'm going to do is in the text field here, I'm going to give the set to review in the on change of the set field as like this way. So set review, and I'm going to pass it as e.target.value. Okay. Okay. Next, I'm going to give that review here as a second argument by object. So first of all, I'm giving the movie review here as like this way. I'm passing the state directly here. The next, I'm also passing the email ID of the user who is giving the review or who is reviewing the movie. So I'm giving as email. So we will get the email of that user or the user that is logged in by using the auth.currentuser.email. So first of all, I need to import the auth, and I'm going to use the current user, auth.currentuser, then .email. Okay. So next I'm going to pass the display name of the user as the user name. Okay, so as user name, I'm going to pass the display name of the user. That means auth.current user dot uh, display name as like this way. Okay. So now what will happen is such that when we are giving any review here and clicking the submit button, the review for the particular movie will be created. So I'm going to give review in this section. I'm giving a random review. Okay, I'm giving submit button. So now you can see that in the database. So I'm going to take this movie. Here you can see that. Yeah, this is the movie that we have taken here in the movie details. So we have already created a review collection, that is a nested collection. That is, we have already given the name reviews here, and that collection is created. This ID is a random ID. Then next we can see that the review email ID and username that we have given here. So we have added the reviews to the particular movie in our movie details section. So next I'm going to do is to list or show the reviews that we have already given in this section below this review section. So for that I'm going to define another function, that is const show review, which is an arrow function, and I'm going to use the function get docs from Firebase Firestore. So I have imported that get docs from Firebase Firestore. Next, I'm going to give async await, and also try catch. In the console.error, I'm going to give the error, and I'm passing this get docs inside this try. So next, I'm going to call this show review function inside the use effect. So here inside this use effect, I'm going to call that show review function as like this way. And next we have to pass the argument into this get docs. So for that we have already defined a variable that is a review ref. So we need to pass this review ref into this get docs as an argument. So now you can see that I'm defining a variable that is data, and I'm assigning this into the data. Okay. So when I log this data, you can see that so so this is the data that we get from here. Okay. So we can see that here there is the docs. So the data that we need is included in this doc section, but that is not in the form which we can directly use. So I'm going to do is I'm going to define another variable that is filtered data as like this way, and I'm going to map through the docs which we have already seen there. Okay, as like this way. Then we are taking each doc Then we are applying or we are calling data method there, and we are also giving the ID into that filtered data variable as doc.id. Okay. Next, I'm going to pass this filtered data into a state. So for that, I'm going to define a state. So that is review data, set review data, and I'm passing the empty array into it. The next, I'm going to use this set review data here. Okay. So now I am going to log that state review data as like this way. You can see that in the console. So here is the state review data. It contains email, ID, movie review, and also the username. Okay, so now we can show these details or list these details below this review section. Okay, so now I am going to map through this array. So here we can see that this is the review section. I'm going to map through this array review data dot map. I'm using h5 tag for displaying the username. So here we get the each data. So I am taking each data as like this way, and I am giving as each dot username. Okay, I'm giving the style as color white. Okay, so you can see that here is the username. Okay, so the username we have shown or listed here. Next, I am going to list the review here as like this way. H6. I am taking a review as each dot movie review. So I'm giving the style color as gray itself to this review section also. So now you can see that here is the review. Okay. So next I'm going to do is here we have given the movie review email and username into that add review function. So next I'm going to do or I'm going to add another field also. That means the profile picture. So I'm going to console the auth again. So at that time you can see that here in the console you can see that this is the auth details, the details of the user. So here in the current user you can see that there is a photo URL. So the photo URL is the same profile pic that we have given in the Google account. So I'm going to pass that also. That means I'm copying this photo URL and I'm giving here that is as profile pic, profile image. That is auth.current user dot photo URL. So now you can see that when we are adding a review into the database, we can see that I'm going to submit the data here. At that time you can see that a new document will be created with the movie and also there is profile image. Okay, so Now I am going to use that profile image also. Here you can see that I am going to use the profile image in the image tag. In the source, I am going to give each dot profile image. Okay. And I am giving the style for width and height. That is width. I am giving width that is 20 px. And also you can see that here the image will be shown. So you can see that here this is the image. So I am going to uh, show that again. So this is the image of the Google account that I am logged in. So you can see that here. So I am going to reduce the size again. Okay. Next I am going to put this inside a div. So now you can see that here as like this way. I am giving this as in the list, that is username as in list. I am going to reduce the size, and also I am giving this style as display flex. Okay, so now you can see that here. So here you can see that this is the profile pic and the username. So next I am going to increase the size of the profile pic again. So here I am giving as 20 px. So now I am going to give the or change the color of the review section to white. At that time you can see it clearly. Okay, so here is the profile pic and also the username. So I am going to give border radius. Okay, so now you can see that it looked like this. Next I am going to give the margin left or padding left to this profile, this username. So here I am giving padding. Okay, now it is fine. So next I am going to use the React Toastify into our project. So for that I am going to take the npm of React Toastify. So I am going to click on this first link. Then we will be redirected to this page. Here I am going to first copy this npm install React Toastify command, and I am going to run this command in our project. So now the React Toastify will be installed into our project. Okay, so React Toastify has been installed into our project. So now in the package.json we can see that React Toastify. Okay, so next I'm going to do is I'm going to use this React Toastify notification in our navbar, so that here is the logged out logout button. So I am going to first use this React Toastify notification in the logout button. So here you can see that this is the logout function. So after calling the sign out button, I am going to use this toast. So for that, when we go to the documentation of the React Toastify, you can see that first of all we have to import the toast container, toast and the style to our project, to our component. So I am going to copy that and paste it here as like this way. So next I am going to use this toast after this sign out function as like this way, toast dot success, and inside that I am going to write logged out successfully. Okay. Next, I am going to use this toast container component here. And also I am giving a prop that is auto close, that is 2000. Next, I am going to give a theme in this toast that is dark. So next I am going to log out. So here you can see that I am going to click on the log out button. At that time you can see that here is the logged out successfully notification. So next I am going to use this toast notify in the sign in component. So here when we click the sign in with Google, we need to show that signed in successfully. So for that I am going to the sign in component and I am going to import the same from navbar as like this way. I'm going to copy this completely and I'm going to import here. Okay. The next I'm going to use the toast container as like that of that. That is toast container auto close 2000. And also I am using the toast after this sign in with the pop-up function. So I am going to put this navigation in set timeout 2000 as like this way. And after that, I'm going to use the toast dot success signed in successfully. Okay. So now you can see that when I am clicking the sign in button, sign in with the Google, it will show the signed in successfully. Okay. So we have used the React Osify in the for the logout button and also for the sign in button. So next I'm going to use this React Osify for the submit button in the review section. So here you can see that this is the submit button. So I'm going to use the React Osify whenever we submit the review into the Firebase. So for that, I'm going to the movie details section. Here I am going to import the same from the navbar. I'm going to copy and paste same as from the navbar, and I imported the toast container and toast here. Next, I am going to do is in the this is the add review function. So here after this try or using the add doc, I'm going to use the toast.success as like this way, and I am giving review added successfully. Okay, so next I am giving the theme that is dark, and also I am using the toast container here, toast container component with auto close 2000. Okay, so now you can see that I'm giving a review. Yeah, it is showing review added successfully. Okay, so we have used the React Osify for the logout section, logout button, sign in button, and also for the review submitting section. So next I'm going to do is when we are clicking this play trailer button, we have to show the trailer of the movie. For showing that trailer, I'm going to use the React model library. So I'm going to install the React model library from npm
React model. Okay, so I am going to click the first link there and I am going to copy this npm I React model. I'm going to run this in our React.js project. Now React model will be installed into our project. So React model has been installed into our project. We can see that React model in the package.json. Okay. So next I'm going to do is to create a new component to show this model. So I'm going to name that component as trailer.js as like this way. Okay. Then when we go to the document of the React model, here you can see that this is the example of that React model. So first of all, I'm going to copy this return of the example return section and I'm going to paste it here. Okay. So now you can see that. Okay. So now I am going to call this trailer component in the movie detail component instead of the play trailer button. So we can see that here is the play trailer button. So I am going to first comment this play trailer button and I am going to call the component that is trailer. Okay, as like this way you can see that. So next we have to import these all things. So from the example here, I am going to copy these functions up to here and I am going to copy in this trailer component. Okay, so now you can see that next they are asking to import the model and custom styles. So for that, here is a custom style and here is a model. So I'm going to copy these two and to paste it here. Okay, so now you can see that. Okay, next here is the open model button. So when we look the trailer component, we can see inside this model, here is the open model button. Next, I'm going to give the button component from the material UI. Okay, so now you can see that here is the material UI button and I'm giving the props such as variant contained and style by sx tag, that is color black and background color white. Okay, so next I'm going to change the name, that is open or play trailer. So now you can see that the button is ready. So when we click this button, we can see the model pop up here. So next I am going to remove these all things. So we don't want this form and I am model and also I am removing this hello text from there. Okay, so when we click, now you can see that this is a structure and also I am removing the close button also. Okay, next I am going to show the trailer of the movie. So for that I am going to use the React YouTube library from npm. So I am going to the React npm React YouTube. So you can see that this is npm React YouTube and I'm going to copy this and to run in the project. So now React YouTube will be installed into our project.
So React YouTube has been installed into our project. You can see it here. So when we take the package.json, we can see that here is a React YouTube library. It is installed into our project. So next, I'm going to use this YouTube component from React YouTube in the model. So here I am going to call that YouTube component as like this way. Next, I need to import that from React YouTube here. So import YouTube from React YouTube. Okay. So now you can see that when I click the play trailer button, here is the preview. So now when we click that, there will be an error. Okay. So next we need to give the actual trailer of this movie. So for that, in the TMDB website, we can see that in the sidebar of this API reference, there is a section for movies. In there, you can see videos section here. So I'm going to click on the videos, and here you can see the URL that we need to show the trailer. So I'm going to copy the complete URL and I'm going to paste it here. So for that, I'm going to define a function that is show trailer. So inside the fetch operation, I'm going to paste that URL as like this way. So now you can see that this URL contains movie ID. Now you can see that in this URL, we need to give the movie ID. So in the movie, from the movie details component, I am going to pass the location here. So I'm going to give it as a location itself as a props. So I'm passing it as like this way. Okay, so then in the trailer component, I'm going to take it as location. So I'm going to give the ID of the movie here as location.state.movie.id. Location.state.movie.id. Okay, so here we have given the ID of the movie. Next, we have to give the API key after this video question mark. So I am giving API key as like this way. It's give equal to, I'm going to copy this API key from the navbar component. So here is the API key. I'm going to copy this and paste it in the trailer component. Okay, and I'm giving an and here. Okay, so next I'm going to use the response. And after that, I'm going to call this function in the use effect. So here I'm going to use the use effect hook, and I'm going to call that use show trailer inside this use effect hook as like this way. So next I'm going to take the console. So here you can see that in the console, this is the results that we got. It contains the videos or trailers related to this particular movie. So you can see that here is the key of the movie. We need this key particularly. Okay, this is an extended review. It contains results, 21 results. That means each type of the videos related to the same movie itself. So I'm going to use this zeroth element from this array. So the array is JSON.results. So when we give the JSON dot results, we will get these 21 results as like this way. From that, we need the particular key. So we need to pass that particular key inside this YouTube component as a video ID. So I'm giving video ID, which is equal to the key that I have shown in the console. Okay. So for that, I'm going to define a state. Here I'm going to define a state as trailer view, set trailer view, which is equal to view state empty array. Then I'm going to use the set trailer view here. Okay, so next I'm going to use the set trailer here. Okay, so next you can see that this trailer view contains the array, that means the 21 results of the particular movie. From that, I'm going to take the 0th element. So for taking the 0th elements, I'm going to give the trailer view of 0. So I'm going to console that particular, or the first element, console.log trailer view of 0. So now you can see that in the console, here is the result that contains the key. So I'm going to use that particular key here. So for that, I'm going to use trailer view of 0 dot key. Okay, so now you can see that when I am clicking this play trailer button, trailer here as like this way. Yeah, here comes the trailer. So when I click this icon here, so the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to bring a condition in the movie detail component. The user should be post their review whenever the user is logged in. So I'm going to give a condition. So here in the movie details section, you can see that this is an add doc function in the add review. So I'm giving a condition such that auth.current user and this add doc. So whenever this user is logged in, then only the user should post their review. Then I'm going a condition to this toast also. That means auth.current user. If the auth.current user is present, then we have to show the success message, or otherwise toast.warning. So as like this way, please log in. So now you can see that I'm going to log out first. Okay. Then next I'm going to the movie details section and I am going to click on the submit button. So now you can see that it is showing please log in. That means now the user is not logged in. Okay, so we have given the condition for the submit button. So next I'm going to do is, here you can see that here is the trailer in this movie details section. So I'm going to give the same functionality in this play trailer button in the navbar section also. So for that, in the navbar, we know that here there is a button that is play trailer. I'm going to change that button and to use or call the trailer component in this navbar as like this way. Okay. So next we have to do is we have to pass the movie ID. So now we know that in the trailer component we are using the ID of the movie here in the API as like this way. That means here we get the ID from the location in the movie details. But in the navbar actually we are going to pass the ID itself, that is movies.id. So for that I'm going to pass here movie ID as a prop, that is movies of 11.id. Okay, so next in the trailer I'm going to take that props also, that is movie ID. So I'm giving a condition here, that is if the movie ID is there, then we can use the movie ID as here the ID that we need to pass. Otherwise we need to use the location.state.movie.id. Okay, so now we can see that I'm going to click on this play trailer button. At that time you can see the trailer of the movie. Okay, here there is a chance for another error. That means here we are taking the zeroth element from the trailer view state. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give or take the zeroth element from the JSON itself, and next I'm going to give trailer view directly as like this way. So now you can see that that error will be gone. Okay, so next I'm going to bring some changes to this movie detail sections design part. So for that, here I'm going to remove this height attribute in the review section, and I'm going to give this color of the review section as black. Okay, so next I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this whole inside a div, and I'm going to give the style as background color black and height as 100%. Okay, so now you can see that it is more good. Next I'm going to do one thing, that is here in this movie detail section we don't want these grids. So I'm going to remove the grids here. They are unnecessary. Okay, actually we only need two grid items. That is, one is here for the overview or description section and another for the review section. Okay,
If this video is helpful to you, please consider subscribing to the channel, like the video and comment your feedback.